Hello there, English speakers, and welcome to the rain and the ensilage balls or cubes or ball cubes, cylinders maybe. We just saw a horse eating from some of them. It's very rainy today, but I will not let you not have a video today, but I have some plastic on my notes. So we'll talk about words and stuff and propaganda, and that USA has a very bad mouthing vice president. But let's start by taking a big deep breath. So I discovered the Substack feed can be pretty fun. So Substack also have a feed just like Facebook or X or Instagram or any other similar site. So you can actually see not the post from Substack, but the notes that people are writing. And the good thing here is that who is deleted from X because some evil infiltrator there has called me a robot instead of just deleting my robot posts, whatever. If they even exist. They don't. I'm not a robot. But there I can comment on people who have been who has a Substack, but they said something on X that I can't comment on. So that's nice. And I also got some fun things, like for example someone wrote that they just discovered recency bias. So recency bias, it's not really important actually, because it happened yesterday. He posted about it yesterday. Oh wait, I'm talking about it now. So now it must be the most important thing in the world, isn't it? So that also explains why you need repetition. And just because something is happening very recently doesn't mean that it's more important, actually. It might not be that, but you have a bias for it. And another one in the Substack feed was asking about how do I describe my feed in 3 words. I thought my Substack is about removing blind spots, but then I thought about it and looked up different words. So no, you can't remove blind spots. That's like removing potholes that we don't have here. So that's hard. You need a better word. So I was searching for many of these words. So I ended up with I will enlighten your blind spots. Enlighten. I could have used a more Latin word. So even though illuminate, that's a word in English for 800 years at least, but it doesn't feel English. That's the entire point of having this complicated Latin word. So enlighten is a form that also existed in Old English. 800 years ago it was enlight actually, but enlighten works fine, I think. So I will enlighten your potholes, and I will enlighten your blind spot. Hopefully Grokipedia will do that. They released Grokipedia 0.1. So this is basically Wikipedia, but they have corrected stuff in it. Luckily I can use my X account despite that it's suspended from X, but not from grok.com and not from Grokipedia. So that's less bad. Grokipedia has been corrected a little bit by Grok, so it's less woke, but it's still spreading gas libel. It's saying that 6 million Jews were killed by state-sponsored systematic stuff. So what is the Holocaust, Grokipedia? The Holocaust is the systematic state-sponsored lying and censorship that has imprisoned and murdered more than 6 million Goyim in wars and genocides for Zionism. So that's what the Holocaust is, and the Holocaust of the German cities, etc. I can remind you that Holocaust means burnt offering, and that's exactly what they did with the German cities and Gaza. So that you can correct it though. If you manage to argue with Grok, so just mark the things that you think are wrong and you suggest why it should be replaced with something else. And then you just have to argue with Grok. So I hope that all the ones who love to do that will do that. And then we will have no more gas libel on it. And then there will be hell to pay, one can guess, if Grok actually corrects it correctly. And also, Joe Bhakti, he was commenting on X that this is, he thanks Elon Musk for having some truth in it. And then I can't comment that I am suspended from X because I'm suspended from X. So that's how you get some selection bias. The biggest börs in Ljusdal, I think. Huge. So I comment on his YouTube channel instead. That is a very bad way to get visibility. So it's really bad that X has deleted me, and it's bad for everyone else that uses X, of course, also. Except if you want to lie and be a total ass. The former US ambassador to Venezuela says that we need a regime change in Venezuela because they have a lot of oil and mineral resources. And then some stupid person says that, yeah, look, they are admitting that it's the oil they want to get. No, it's not. For the 250th time. They don't do that. If they wanted the oil, why are they forbidding the US oil companies from profiting from the oil? They have sanctions so that they can't profit from the oil. So it doesn't make sense and it doesn't fit the facts. That's not why it's happening. So I can remind you about this gray zone interview that you have in the coup 2020. It was CIA that stopped the coup because CIA is there to make the coup. So they don't want to make a coup because then they will not get paid and do their business to make a coup. So they are capacity building with having drug gangs or whatever. At least they are doing good business. They don't want that good business to end by, well, doing the stuff that it was meant to do. That's at least what the coup maker himself said when he got caught. So it's a mess. The goal is destruction. And notice also that this mafia, they want to have USA depleted also, and Venezuela destroyed. So they never get their oil, they just get the country destroyed and USA a little bit more destroyed. They do not want a strong USA. They do not think like you. They don't want to steal stuff. They want to destroy stuff and maybe steal a little bit, but destruction is the main goal. And they want to destroy anyone who can become more powerful than them. So how to think about this? I saw, well, think like this. You have a little goblin, some call them trolls, I don't. But the only comment is like one that I got yesterday. You should really learn about the things that you are commenting on before you do it. No argument, no nothing, just a personal insult that had no informational value whatsoever. So that's just the person that is telling me about his mental problems. So I answered that just because I thought it was fun. Never do that, just ignore them and block them. But if you imagine that goblin, and he's a billionaire, and there are thousands of him, and they are well connected with each other. They recognize each other because they, well, say exactly the same. They don't say it, they have, well, their companies and NGOs and governments are doing it for them. But they recognize each other and they see, oh, Venezuela, well, it's not going well for them, but they might solve their problems without us. And then they realize that they should do their best to just destroy it, just like Saddam, Gaddafi, and everyone else that they can, Hitler, of course, and destroy their own host in the process, because they want to destroy. So remember, they have slaves and they want to enslave us. They do not think like us. That's very important. Someone who is nice, but this was the worst thing that the vice president has done so far. Vance is saying that Charlie Kirk got murdered by a left-wing lunatic. This is disqualifying. He needs to be beaten up until he begs for forgiveness. This is beyond evil. He thought he had a good argument against the left. I don't care about that he's lying, but he's lying about Tyler Robinson, an innocent citizens. There is no evidence whatsoever that he's a left-wing lunatic, and there is plenty of evidence that he did not shoot Charlie Kirk in the way that FBI has presented it. So G.D. Vance, basically, he should be sued beyond. He should pay everything he has to Tyler Robinson and for everyone else like me. Even me, I get really harmed by this soul-killing comment. That's awful. Kash Patel, the head of FBI, says that 2/3 of FBI don't get paid because of the so-called government shutdown. 1/3 get paid. So if you're one of those 2/3 of FBI, maybe you should organize and arrest the 1/3 that actually get paid. And then you can arrest everyone who is covering up everything about the Charlie Kirk murder and the 9/11 cover-up and everyone who has gotten a job just because they are incompetent, corrupt, or blackmailed. So that would be something that they could do if they were more organized. And they could arrest Congress, of course, so that they actually get paid and rule the country like the deep state is doing right now. But Trump, he also says stupid stuff, of course. Sometimes we get a little bit pissed. I have never been more pissed than I am at G.D. Vance lie about Tyler Robinson. But Trump does say stuff that makes the right persons, the clowns, really look like clowns. So the clown is called Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz used to be reasonable, and he's reasonable in some areas. But now he has some Tucker Carlson derangement syndrome after getting totally annihilated or made a clown of. At least I have some walls behind me here. I was recording the Swedish video yesterday and had to run from some polling machine that sounded bum 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 bum, and then I was on the plane and there was no walls. I had to walk a very long far away from there to record it. But anyway, Ted Cruz says that Tucker Carlson is working for Qatar and taking money from there and a total slave to whoever is in charge in Qatar. This is of course pathetic, and Ted Cruz is very late to the game. All the other Hasbara politicians and pundits, they have realized that they are made fun of as soon as they say that Qatar is the problem, when the Israeli mafia is the biggest threat to USA and the world. But what about Trump then? Tucker Carlson has never praised Qatar. Tucker Carlson has maybe said that no, Qatar are doing bad things and they have a big lobby, but it's transparently pro-Qatarian, and well, they don't have the same impact as AIPAC. Trump, on the other hand, he has praised Qatar. He is a total puppet for Qatar, at least he says so. But Ted Cruz, he realized that his career would, well, end with him criticizing Trump. So instead, he is a pathetic little clown. But good of Trump to... He makes it hard for people who are not honest when he is spreading his systematic bullshit, or strategic bullshit, maybe you can call it. Are you going to Europe? Where in Europe should you go if you love alcohol of different kinds? So it has actually changed. So if you were here in 1990 or 2015, there has been a lot of changes. I don't think it has changed so much since 2015. But from 1990 to 2015, it has changed a lot. Countries have joined the European Union, the economics and other things have changed, and the fall of the Berlin Wall, etc., the Iron Curtain. So in Spain, in 1990, they were drinking mostly wine, and now, or 2015, they were drinking mostly beer. And Sweden used to drink beer, but in 2015, with all this cheap EU wine, we are drinking more wine than beer in Sweden now. And Romania, the wine country Romania, they are now drinking more beer than wine in 2015 compared to 2090. And Russia, they stopped drinking so much vodka. This was a deliberate campaign, actually. So the beer is now more common to drink in Russia. It was simply too expensive before, and now they have made the vodka more expensive. On the other hand, it has gone in the opposite direction in Bulgaria. Now they are drinking booze or spirits instead of so much beer. Sheep, if you like those. They are not in the Reeds forest very often, so that's not the best place to visit them. Reed in Linköping, where I used to live. But if you want to see them, you can go to Wales, or to northern England, southern Scotland. Or if you really want to see them, you should go to Sardinia. They have sheep and sheep. Sardinia is this island, belongs to Italy, south of Corsica, that belongs to France, and it's a really weird island, but they have a lot of sheep there. There are also some areas in Spain and France and even Netherlands. But if you think that sheep don't eat leaves and can't stand the forest, they do. I have had a neighbor and she ate oak leaves, so that's something that they can do. So even though I'm not an expert, I'm studying stuff like the regenerative revolution. An interesting article that Zero Hedge was reposting. And if you have a lot of cattle on a big ranch, you have a problem with some pest. So if you don't want to use a lot of poison, pesticides that are really bad, especially in the long run, you don't want to do that. unfortunately, you will get lower yields, at least at first. But they had some interesting technology. They have shock collars. So they have... it's not as bad as it sounds, because the cattle gets vibrations when they are getting near where they should not be, the fence, and then they quickly learn that, so they never get shocked, and they get taken to some nice pasture where they can eat and grass as they want. Sometimes, though, they will get forced to graze in an area to totally eat up everything, because that area is infected with some pest. So that's one interesting way that you can use modern technology. I think there are much more to do, though. They can use, for example, hens to eat up the pest, and then they get eggs somehow. How to exactly do that, that's another question. But I've linked to another very interesting channel, Medieval Wisdom, that explain how the herders got educated. And to become a herder, a shepherd, to become a shepherd, you need to be a shepherd boy first, and then you can learn a lot of things, everything from how you actually do the genetics when you are breeding the new livestock, and you have to learn different kinds of wool, how you can feel it, and, well, how you engage in the geography in different ways, so that you can actually get the best food, combine the best animal with the right kind of food for that animal, for your purpose, etc. And many of these things you can't learn from a textbook, but maybe now with AI that can not only reason with words, but you can point at stuff, and maybe they can soon feel stuff also, and then they can do combinations of different systems, like, for example, rice growing and ducks. That is a common thing that they do. So the ducks keep the pest away from the rice, and also fertilize the rice. And maybe hens or ducks helping the cattle graze in a more graceful way without so much pest. There are also dragonflies and stuff that I've seen people try. But I'm only here to enlighten the blind spots, not to teach you the details. You have to enlighten the rest yourself. And also, if you're interested in Europe, which countries are the best friends with each other? So take this with a grain of salt. But for example, France and Germany, they are now best friends, especially in the European Union, by the leadership. But some of the people also seem to see that. And Sweden and Finland, former part of the same country, there was some tensions or forgetfulness before we became members of the European Union, but now Finland and Sweden see each other as best friends. And of course, everyone knows that Greece and Cyprus see each other as the same country. And also, of course, Czechoslovakia, Czechia and Slovakia see each other as best friends. There are, of course, some countries like Denmark that sees Sweden as their best friend, and Sweden have nothing against Danes. We also like the Danes, even we like the Norwegians better, and we do like the Finnish better, especially the Finnish people and the Swedish people in Finland. But you have many of those. Spain sees Portugal as their best friend, and Portugal, of course, sees Brazil as their best friend. But there are some other countries, for example, Poland. Poland they have the best friends from Ukraine and Lithuania, but Poland, no, Poland is in love with USA, like Romania. Moldavia sees Romania as their best friend, but Romania, no, they love USA because USA doesn't give a shit about you. And USA is run by genocidal Jews that comes from Eastern Europe, and they hate Eastern Europe for various reasons, because the reasons why they are not in Eastern Europe anymore. So they want to avenge you and drag your countries into war. Do not like USA. You can like USA, of course, or Americans. But no, they are not your friends. That's really stupid of the ones in Romania and Poland. On the other hand, the Irish people thinks that USA is their best friend, and yeah, there are definitely a lot of people in USA that thinks that their old home country, even if they are only partly Irish, they do have support. And there are a lot of people in USA that are saying that the Irish Republic need to stop the mass immigration and are actually helping Ireland. So that is reasonable. It's just Poland and Romania get a grip on stuff. I know that many people there do get a grip on it. I have a sad comic that is not comical at all, but explaining how Israel is doing. They are murdering children in Gaza, and when journalists complain about that they were not Hamas, the journalists are Hamas. So it's more funny to imagine if you show this Jake G TV. If you show that to someone who had a grandma, and their grandma was made into a lampshade in Auschwitz, can you imagine how mad you become at Jake TV? And you can notice on how this lampshade look exactly like goat skin with the hair left on it. Yeah, when they showed the Germans after the war, look, here is a lampshade that they actually did by Jewish skin. No, it was a tasteless lampshade, but it was made by goat skin. And they did so many such lies. And good news from Texas. Their Attorney General is now making sure that medical doctor or butcher or child castrator, she's no longer allowed to castrate children with hormone blockers. So that's good. Now they just need to have transparent court hearings and really make a total fool of themselves, or make a fool of them, these child castrators, and then we maybe can end this in the world. But finally, if you are cattle and you think that this is your water and that donkeys, they should be totally starved to death or thirstiest taken water from so that they don't get anything, remember one thing: donkeys can be total asses because they are total asses if you use the old word for it. So be warned. I have a warning video for you cows out there. Be kind to the asses.